Hey, how's it going? Welcome to a new Rocketbot class. In this class, we'll look at running JavaScript. For that, we're going to start up a new robot. We're going to name it JavaScript class. And let's get started. Alright. The idea for today is that you can see and figure out how we can get information that maybe isn't enough with the commands, or is just much faster to do with JavaScript. Not because of speed, but because of information processing. That is, the commands run just as fast as JavaScript commands, but sometimes processing the information is quicker with JavaScript, even though it might take a few more steps than with the commands. Still, that really depends a lot on the website. So, for that, let's open up a web page. In this case, we're going to open Chrome. We're going to start on Mercado Libre, www.mercadolibre.cl. Let's check that everything is working properly. Let's give it a try. There, it opened and it loads correctly. Good. As you may have seen, or as we saw in previous classes, when we launch a web page or any kind of application, what we need to do is validate that action. So, let's right-click and inspect the dots, and then scroll down the bar. No, I mean, scrolling down the bar isn't something you have to do if it doesn't work. It's just that this way the parameters and elements are easier to see. You can handle that however you prefer. Alright, let's select this element. We're going to select the ID in this case, because we can see that it's a fixed ID, at least for now. And we're going to look for the Wait for Object option. We specify the ID, and that it should be visible. Let's wait about 10 seconds or so, and then we'll check. Res. Alright, I'm going to go through this part a bit faster because, well, if you don't remember, you can review the videos on this, especially the previous video called Building My First Robot, where we go through all these steps in a bit more detail, but let's do it quickly. No, let's do it without the robot. Let's do it with the if statement, but we're going to validate in a reverse way inside this robot. You know that if it doesn't open correctly, what you should do is close the robot. Sorry, close the browser and stop the robot. That's what I meant. And we continue with the next steps, which are basically, I want to do a search, for example, if this opened correctly, what I do next is perform a search. Basically, I send it again where I want to do the search, which is obviously in the search bar, and I'm going to send, for example, iPhone 16 Pro, for example, and then an enter, right? So, when I run this, here it's going to do the search and automatically it will return the entire list of phones. Alright, now what we need to do, basically, is apply our first JavaScript command. Why? Because what we need to do here is basically get all the elements, both their titles and their prices. So, what we're going to do here, is basically use JavaScript to first get the number of those elements, which we'll see how to do in a moment, and then we'll get the title and the price. Alright, so first, let's go to the website. Now, let's look for the element we want to find. In this case, it would be we need to get this title. That's what we're interested in. And then, if we start navigating through the component, we'll see that here inside this box, is where the price is located. So I go down here to this element and look for it. Alright, it's not inside this box, it's inside this other box. So I look over this box and keep checking which box I need to go into to get the price. Alright, each time we're getting closer, and now I have the price. But if we go down even further, we'll see that here we have two more classes where it distinguishes, let's say, the amount, the actual number, and the peso symbol. Alright, I want to extract everything, so I'm going to focus on this class. But first I want to get the title, because I want to first get exactly what's called the length or the quantity. So let's type document.getElement by ID, by class name. We're going to enter this class. Oh, I can't. Give me a second, I need to hit undo. Sorry. There we go, now it's working. Document, because it won't let me paste, so document.getElement. Let's select it. Class name, because I selected the class. I open parent, I open parenthesis, open single quote, paste the class, close single quote, close parenthesis. And here I'm going to add .length, if I'm not mistaken. There, perfect. Good. So I'm going to loop through and get the quantity. In other words, here I'm going to get both the name and the price. So let's go back to, let's paste, copy this. Let's go back to Rocketbot and we're going to activate this command. We're going to select it, and here we're going to enter the following instruction. We're going to write document.getElement, which is the same as what we see here. Basically, this is these, the class we're using, and we're counting how many units this class contains we have on this same page. So we're going to assign this result to num, and if we run it, it returns. Why does B show up? Because that information is in bytes. So what we're going to do is decode the information. If you remember, in the variable manipulation class, it wasn't mentioned, but it's also a way. For example, let's decode the variable, which is num.decode. That's another way to do it. And we save this again in num. Notice that before it was in bytes format and now it's in number format, and that's what we're interested in. Alright, now what we need to do is the following. Since we have the quantity, we need to go through the elements that many times. So we're going to use range. Wnum and range. Here what I'm saying is, we're going to repeat the instructions inside the for loop as many times as needed, and that number will be determined precisely by num. Okay, to go through this information, obviously we need to start a counter. And we're going to start it at 0, and we're going to call it I for counter. And the other way to do it is by doing the following. For example, I run this and I'll see what it gives me. So, to avoid having to use an extra command, what I'm going to do is, I won't use this command. I'll come here and put Latin -1. So, with this, I run it again and notice that it already brings it decoded, and there's no need to use this extra command. You can do it either way. It's not that one is right and the other is wrong, or vice versa. It's just that there are two ways to do the same thing. Alright, now what we need to do is extract the text, both from the title and the price, and we're going to do that using the classes and JavaScript in Rocketbot. So let's find out which class we need. This is one class, for example, and the other one is actually, it could be this one. I'm going to choose this one right here. Alright, so let's go with that. How do we do that with JavaScript? So we come here and we're going to write return document get element by class name inner text, and we save this as title, right? We'll do the same for the price, but remember that we need to change the class accordingly. So we come here and we get this class and change it here. Alright, we run it, and now we can see that we have the prices here. Obviously, we need to decode just like we've done before. So we do title.decode and save this as title. And the same for the price. Alright, and we save it as price. Good. So we run these two commands and we see the following. We see that it's already decoded. And remember that this is looping through, look, the positions. I'm at position 0, meaning the first one, which is this element. Now I need to go to the position once all this is executed to position 2. How do I do that? I just take the counter, and at the end of the for loop, I call the counter, add 1 to it, and save it again. So let's see, the counter starts at 0, it enters here inside the for loop, and in the first position here it's going to leave 0, right? So it's going to search in position 0 for the title and for the price. It does all the decoding, and here, to I, which is at 0, it's now going to set it to 1. So the position is going to move to position 1, and remember that in programming, position 1 is actually the second position. So let's check that, and let's put an alert to verify that both the title and the price have been extracted correctly. Done. The phone, let's put the title here, has a price of, and the price, right? Notice that if I run it now, the Apple phone will show up as distributed, because that's the one we tested. It has a price of 1,000. Okay, good. Let's close here and run the whole thing from start to finish. So, we start the execution. Mercado Libre opens up, it's very fast, it waits for the object, performs the search, and now it starts going through the items. Alright, let's go through all of them. Well, I hope this was helpful. I hope you learned something, took something away from it, and we'll see each other in the next class. Thank you very much.